Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app, Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Check out Reverend Bill Miller's Bible Study radio broadcast live on the new STMK Radio 100 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please listen in and support him as he joins the realm of broadcasting to encourage believers and offer the comfort of God to others across the airwaves. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Also, feel free to contact him for prayer, counseling, and conversation at brobill9608@yahoo.com. That's BROBILL9608@yahoo.com. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 with your host, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
A public street announcement. You are now listening to a Kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
What do we really know about Zach Reed?
Zach's done zero for Cleveland. Reed promises 400 new police officers, but has no way to pay the $40 million they'll cost.
Yeah, and Reed was arrested and jailed for multiple DUIs.
That's really not safe.
Reed even opposed Mayor Jackson's education plan.
And Reed hasn't delivered jobs for his ward.
Wow, for 16 years, Zach Reed has failed as a councilman.
Yeah, Reed's all talk, no action.
That's right. It's time to reject Zach Reed.
Sure is.
But Cleveland knows it can count on Mayor Frank Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson invested in safer neighborhoods. He brought in the Justice Department to reform the police and put hundreds of officers on the streets.
And Jackson's plan for our schools?
It's raising graduation rates and preparing students.
This is Mayor Frank Jackson, and we must continue moving forward.
Yeah, let's re-elect Mayor Frank Jackson.
Definitely.
Paid for by Frank G. Jackson for a better Cleveland. Scott Feinerman, treasurer.
Ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
Is this something that's evolved as a philosophy in your mind, and how has this kind of progressed that you make a stand like this?
It's something that I've seen, I've felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally, and it is something that's evolved. It's something as I've gained more knowledge about, what's going on in this country in the past, what's going on currently. These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be.
Will you continue, Colin, to sit? Will you continue to sit?
Yes, I'll continue to sit. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change, and when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
Specifically, what would you like to see change in order for you to stand?
There's a lot of things that need to change. One specifically is police brutality. There's people being murdered unjustly and not being held accountable. Cops are getting paid leave for killing people. That's not right. That's not right by anyone's standards.
Colin, so many people see the flag as kind of a symbol of the military. How do you view it, and what do you say to those people?
I have great respect for men and women that have fought for this country. I have family, I have friends that have gone and fought for this country. And they fight for freedom. They fight for the people. They fight for liberty and justice for everyone. And that's not happening. People are dying in vain because this country isn't holding their end of the bargain up as far as, giving freedom and justice and liberty to everybody. It's something that's not happening. And I've seen videos, I've seen circumstances where men and women that have been in the military have come back and been treated unjustly by the country they fought for and have been murdered by the country they fought for on our land. That's not right.
Do you personally feel oppressed? Personally?
There have been situations where I feel like I've been ill-treated, yes, but this stand wasn't for me. This stand wasn't because I feel like I'm being put down in any kind of way. This is because I'm seeing things happen to people that don't have a voice. People that don't have a platform to talk and have their voices heard and affect change. So I'm in a position where I can do that, and I'm going to do that for people that can't.
Is this the first year that you haven't stood up? Or did you do it other years, or is this the first time?
This year's the first year that I've done this.
You did all the preseason games so far?
Yes.
This is the first time it's noticed?
Yes.
How did your teammates respond when you explained yourself today, and what was the support like for you?
The support I've got from my teammates has been great. I think a lot of my teammates come from areas where this might be a situation. Their families might be put in this situation. It's something that I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, I really respect you for what you're doing and what you're standing for.
Well, I wasn't preoccupied with the NFL. I was ashamed of what was taking place because, to me, that was a very important moment. I don't think you can disrespect our country, our flag, our national anthem To me, the NFL situation is a very important situation. I've heard that before about was I preoccupied? Not at all. Not at all. I have plenty of time on my hands. All I do is work. The governor of Puerto Rico is so thankful for the great job that we're doing. We did a great job in Texas, a great job in Florida, a great job in Louisiana. We hit little pieces of Georgia and Alabama. And frankly, we're doing, and it's the most difficult job because it's on the island. It's on an island in the middle of the ocean. It's out in the ocean. You can't just drive your trucks there from other states. And the governor said we are doing a great job. In fact, he thanked me specifically for FEMA and all of the first responders in Puerto Rico. And we're also mentioning with that the U.S. Virgin Islands. It was devastated. I think it's a very important thing for the NFL to not allow people to kneel during the playing of our national anthem, to respect our country and to respect our flag. Okay? Thank you.
This looks like a PR stunt to me. He knew our team that's had the most players protests, he knew that we were probably going to do it again. And so this is what systemic oppression looks like. A man with power comes to the game, tweets a couple of things out, and leaves the game with an attempt to thwart our efforts. Again, based on the information I have, that's the assumption that I make. I think it is gaining ground. I've spoken to y'all previously about controlling the narrative, and that's what we'll do. And if I need to say it every time y'all ask me, this is not about the military, this is not about the flag, this is not about that. My mother served in the armed forces. 3 of my uncles served in the armed forces. In fact, my mom would have went to the Persian Gulf War had she not been pregnant with me. I have the utmost respect for the military, the anthem, and the flag. So I would say that every time y'all interview me. This is about systemic oppression that has been rampant in this country for decades, on top of decades. And I will continue to say and encourage people to educate themselves on how we got to where we are today, because it didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to happen overnight to fix these issues. So we're going to keep talking about it. I know that I will keep doing what I feel is necessary to use the platform that I have to make those changes.
There's other, of other players who feel the same way, but maybe not ready to step forward publicly.
What was your question?
Other players who are kind of feel the same way that you do, but are afraid to really step forward publicly, like you have.
Yeah, I know there's other players that feel the same way. I've had players reach out to me. Once again, it's not something I'm going to ask them to put their necks out. I know the consequences that come along with my decision, and if they feel strongly about it and want to stand with me, then I hope they do. If it's something they're not ready for, that's what the conversations are for, and they can make that decision, when they're ready or if they're ready.
Do you feel you'll be safe? Do you feel you'll be safe in some of the red cities that you go to, and will you take some precautions? I mean, that's a legitimate thought.
Not really too concerned about that. At the end of the day, if something happens, that's only proving my point. That's...
Dr. Edwards has some experience with public stances such as this. You were talking to him before practice. Is he someone you consulted with at any point when you decided to do this?
Once again, it wasn't something I consulted anybody on. It was a conversation I had when someone asked me about it. Dr. Edwards is a good friend. He's someone I talk to a lot and run a lot of things by and have a lot of conversations with. And we have a lot of similar views.
Good evening and welcome, Facebook Live, YouTube. Welcome with us tonight. We're going to have a well sit back panel with us tonight. We're going to talk about the national anthem protest. We're also going to talk with the guy, the veteran, who had a personal letter to Colin Kaepernick and asked him not to sit because it was a sign of disrespect, but told him to kneel as a sign of respect. In Studio 51 with me tonight, coming out of the Blue Room, is Tone the Stone. What's up, Tone the Stone?
What up, Chanel? What up, Stop the Madness?
Hey, also with us tonight, we got Mr. Black, and he's going to set it out, and he's going to let us know he's from the ATL, and he's up here in the 216 in the land. Mr. Black, welcome, and thank you for coming with us tonight.
Are you representing ATL now? No, he's actually from the land. He's a Clevelander born and raised. He just that's his home away from home, I guess. Oh yeah, definitely. That's what it is. Born and raised in Cleveland, but ATL the new home. We back at it though every day. Stop the madness. What's going on?
Okay, there ain't nothing happening right here, but we want everybody to know right there. Everybody has picked sides on this national anthem protest, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And on Monday, out of Chicago, I asked everybody there. The lines was open. The chat room is full with D No. She's in the chat room with our social media right now. And I asked everybody to remember a date, 1791. 1791 was the day, December 15th to be exact, 1791 was the day that the first Congress ratified our Constitution.
Okay.
And we only had 10 amendments. Okay. And a careful reading of the First Amendment reveals that it protects 7 basic liberties of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That's the freedom of religion, speech, press, petitions, and assembly. Interpretation of that amendment is far from easy, as courts after courts have tried to rule on this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I see the NFL anthem protest going to a court. And I talked to a lot of attorneys. We have them right here.
Isn't that really that serious, though?
Yes, it's going to be that serious because what's getting ready to happen now, they have changed the narrative of what the protest actually was.
It boils down to this for me, Sean. Has there anyone ever been convicted or charged with a crime for burning the flag?
Yes.
They've been convicted
and burned it, but
no, I'm not saying. I know there have been cases.
Right.
Have they been convicted?
Cases, yes, they've been cases, but the Supreme Court ruled that was a First Amendment expression.
Okay, so if they're allowed to burn the flag, how are you going to go to? How can they go to court for you refusing to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance?
Because they just made it a labor issue now. Because the owners is coming out demanding that the players stand.
Because they're letting Donald Trump pressure them, and there's really no place for him to even be getting involved. He's got much heavier stuff going on, like I said before.
There you go. There you go. So what's going to happen is a union in Texas is going to sue Jerry Jones. Soon as he demands that his players stand Sunday, they're going to file a lawsuit Monday in the court with Jerry Jones. Mm-hmm. And this is where it comes very particular at, and this is why I say I see this going to court, and I see this getting very, very nasty. And there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be upset because the owners have a lot of leeway when it comes to employment and relationships with employment, okay? They can set the rules, but there's one thing they cannot do. They cannot force their religious beliefs or practices upon a person.
Right.
Okay. And to tell me that I have to stand for the flag, okay, it's forcing me with their religious and practices after I told them I didn't want to do that.
See, this is all a big waste of time to me. Now, like, I know you probably addressed Mike Pence walking out of the game.
I know, not
like
yet.
that.
We haven't got there yet.
I thought you might have been in the chat room talking about it beforehand.
No, the chat room is fired up right now. YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, in the chat room right now with D knows the talk is on. So if you're on Facebook Live, go ahead and start your comments. If you want any comments, Mitch Rowland, thank you for coming with us. We got Mickey Secor, a veteran from Vietnam. In the chat room.
It's like this, Sean. Like this is all a big waste of time as far as I'm concerned, because by now everybody knows both sides of the story. They know why Colin Kaepernick chose to sit. why he chose to protest and why everybody else has chose to protest, and then everybody who's opposed to it, why they're opposed to it. Now, instead of Mike Pence, the vice president of the nation, instead of him, going to meet with that man or any of those players who are protesting face to face and have a debate, like they would do, like they do in order to get to the high office that they're in. They want to act like kids when they don't get their way and get up and walk out.
Well, let me say this. Let me tell you this about Donald Trump and Pence. They are government officials. They don't have a say-so in this.
Yeah, but they already made the say-so.
Okay,
They've already voiced their opinion, and that's where the big deal is coming from.
They voiced their opinion on the wrong side because they're the president of everybody, okay? Black, white, neo-Nazis, I don't care what group you in, what professions you in, okay? Donald Trump has a responsibility to president and to act in accordingly for everybody.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that, though.
Well, his Constitution...
He doesn't know that. He thinks he can do what he wants to do.
Under the Constitution, it tells him he must do this. That's why they're talking Article 25 right now.
And also, Sean, he thinks he can do what he wants to do, and quite frankly, he's getting away with it because I look at the things that comes out of his mouth and all of the terrible.
But you know why he's getting away with
publicity he gets.
I feel like it's only to a certain extent. They're only gonna let him get away with so much.
No. I feel like all the terrible publicity he gets, that would kill anybody else. That would ruin anybody else's career.
But you know why he's getting away with it?
Keeps getting him bigger and bigger and stronger.
Tony, let's put it in the proper perspective. What's the name of this show? Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. Donald Trump is in office because of the hate for Barack Obama. Okay. And they thought Hillary Clinton, they couldn't see Hillary Clinton, a woman, as president, and they thought that Hillary Clinton would continue Barack Obama's policies. Okay, let's cut it right to the case.
He's in office because people made a decision out of anger and stupidity.
Well, we ain't even got to those yet, okay? I ain't even walked down that line yet. I'm keeping it real wise here. And the black people, the Russians are already jumped in and jumped on Black Lives Matter. And the problem here is that we as a people refuse to go out and protect our own community, the women in our community, and the kids in our community. That's why it is what it is. And we go for the money. Okay, look at what's going on right now.
It's fear. It's fear.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's fear.
And Mr. Black,
yes.
Have you heard anything in the last 9 months about the people suffering in Flint? Flint has disappeared from the thing.
Right.
What did they tell you last week about Puerto Rico? Last week we had a guy on the show, and the guy said, "You want to know what's going on in Puerto Rico? Wait 7 days." 7 days when the press is gone, everything calmed down, and everybody's not fighting or whatever, then you will see what the mayor was talking about. 7 days now, you have the death rate going higher. 80-90% of the island still doesn't have electricity. Millions of people still don't have proper food, and they still ain't got the help that's supposed to be their help.
And you heard what Trump said. It might have been today.
Well, right. You just heard him earlier when Trump said it's right. And Trump said, and I'm going to repeat this, that the first responders and FEMA cannot stay in Puerto Rico. But I'm going to tell everybody right now, you are now learning, okay, that if you are a person of color, we all in the same boat. I watch the Puerto Ricans, they right now in the chat room, and I watch the ones that go against their homeland, went against the people talking about it, calling them fascists, and everybody went for Trump, okay? Now their family are over there, or relatives are over there in this mess, dying, okay, asking for help. Are we going to put party over country? Are we going to put party over family? It's time for everybody to stop the craziness, okay? The same help that Houston got, the same help that Florida got, that should be on its way over to Puerto Rico right now. Just keep it real. Puerto Ricans are Americans. They're American citizens. They should be treated as such. The Virgin Islands, the same thing. We don't care about North Korea, okay? North Korea don't have a nuclear bomb to drop on the U.S., and if they did have one, what you going to do about it, okay? We'll wipe them out. As Trump said, we could wipe them out. We got a force, an army so big, North Korea couldn't even begin to mess with us, okay?
Man, and then I also read that, I think it was, might have been the New York Times, that Trump said he hates everybody in the White House. He said that today.
Well, you know what?
He's losing it.
No, he's not losing it. He's not losing it. You have to look at this.
That's his staff, his hand-picked staff. He hates everybody in the White House.
But you have to look at this, okay? And you know what? I'm gonna go with my president, okay, and I'm gonna say this, okay, and I know I'm gonna get everybody coming down the line. So go ahead, chat room, you can hit me with this. See, Trump is the most hated man in the world.
And I'm a big fan of let him kill himself. Let him destroy himself.
And what's happening right here by him being the most hated man in the world, okay? Trump is used to being liked. He's used to being the boss. He's used to telling people to jump. Remember what he said, if I tell them to do it, they going to do it. He's not used to people telling him no. He's not used to somebody saying, and he's not used to every day when he sit down at the TV being criticized for what he's doing, okay? And the people around him don't know what to do because guess what? Twitter, okay, it's killing them because if they come and say this tonight on Twitter, they're gonna look like a fool. And look at all the people that sold their soul. I'm just gonna go on the first part. Who sold their soul? Sean Spicer, Pence. Pence. He sold his soul. The other guy, Previs. Okay, the guy, Mooch come in firing everybody like he big time soprano. Look what happened to him. Okay,
he didn't last long. He didn't last
a
week.
So you look at everybody that came in and did the dirty work for him. And they got what their just deserved. Now they talking about every time that the president turned on the TV, just like Richard Nixon.
But you know what the thing is? What's actually getting done with all these people coming and going, all the drama and the chaos?
Well, a lot's getting done.
Mishaps.
A lot's getting done.
Nothing's getting done.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of money.
He signed the health care bill today. Was that what you mean?
No,
no.
See, why y'all? See, this is the problem, and this is what I tell the voters. And see,
you gonna say something's getting done behind the scenes?
No, young man. See, this is the thing I talk about. Young people.
What's getting done for us?
Because,
for the people.
Wait a minute, a lot is being done. Okay, you're sleeping. As long as you're sleeping and looking at the man, remember the Wizard of Oz, you was a little young then, but remember Mr. Black, the guy said, do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain. I want you to look at the fireball with the face on it, okay? That's what I want you to look at. Don't look at me making the fireball with his face on it. They have rolled back EPA requirements. They have put pipelines in. They are destroying the environment. They have cut the SNAP program. They have cut Obama's wife program of feeding needy kids in school. That was the only meal that some of those kids was getting.
Well,
okay?
See, but my point was, I understand exactly what you're saying. That's what's happening. But that's not what I meant. I mean, see why everybody's criticizing him and complaining and making a mockery out of him or saying he's making a mockery out of the country. Meanwhile, all of this stuff, all of his agenda and his friends' agenda is getting done behind the scenes.
Not his agenda.
So what are we doing
not his agenda.
to cut it?
See, you're sleeping again. It's not his agenda. It's the Republican Party's agenda. And the Republican Party's agenda,
I'm sure he's reaping some of the benefits.
It is to remove Barack Obama out of the history books. Okay? As what was the guy that told Moses when Moses remember when Moses' brother what was his name?
Moses Malone?
No, when Moses' brother, when this for your time. I know everybody here. Somebody in the chat room tell me when you Brennan played.
That was with Jesus' age.
Right,
that was around
right.
that time.
Hey, and remember,
you read your Bible. What's Moses' brother name?
Hey, remember when Moses, when Moses' beloved father thought that his sister, that was Moses' his sister's son, and he was gonna give Moses everything. And Ramsey, that's it. Ramsey.
The Pharaoh.
Right. Ramsey, when he found out that Moses was a Hebrew and they brought him into the chambers, what did Ramsey say? Moses' name should be stricken from all ledgers and never spoken again.
I
Okay?
don't remember that part. I thought he treated him like a son,
No,
even after he found out he wasn't.
He threw him out. Okay.
No education
and he told him his name should be restricted from all ledgers, never to be spoken again.
But that didn't work.
Okay. Now, let me tell you, this is what's going on right here. They're removing anything, okay, paying insurance across state lines. Let me tell you what's getting ready to happen in the healthcare field since you brought that up, okay? When he signed, just like Barack Obama did, all the Republicans were screaming about Barack Obama violated the Constitution. He's just stepping on it, pissing on it, going crazy. Okay, Trump's doing the same thing, but it's okay. You know why? Because Trump's doing it. Okay, when Barack Obama was doing it, they took him to court. That court case is sitting at the Supreme Court. They won't even ask the court to rule on it. Okay, because if the court rule on it, it's going to affect who? Donald Trump, because he's in office. Okay, So what's going to happen here? Now, insurance company, you can buy insurance across state line. Okay, that's going to remove the mandate for you to get an insurance with me or Mr. Black, who may have preconditions. Okay, I'm old, you young. You can get your insurance cross state line for $100. Mr. Black got to pay now, instead of $200, he got to pay $375 because he got preconditions. Me, since I'm old, I'm over 50, I got to pay $500-$600, okay? Because they looking at me, I'm going to be sick more. I'm going to have run up with heart attacks, and they're going to go all the way line looking like they're going to spend millions of dollars, so they're going to get their money up front, okay? That's what happens when you go across state line. And what's going to happen with Trump and the Republicans is our biggest employers is the medical field. That's where all the money's at. That's where they put everybody at. If they start laying off, the market's going to crash, and we're going to have a serious problem. And under his leadership right now, we may not recover. Okay, we may go back to 2008 all over again. Okay, they don't want to give Barack Obama no credit for what he did. But I want to go back to this right here in the chat room because somebody in the chat room right here, Facebook Live, Linda, said this before we go to D Knows. When the groundwork necessary to achieve these things really begin to be put into action, you'll see how fast this flag and anthem division ends. So what she's saying is when we as a people come together, okay, the owners are going on the side of what they say, the people who spend the money, okay? Now, I tell everybody, since they're trying to hijack the protest, fill the stadium up. Go in the stadium and back them players, and then show the players that you had their back. If you stay outside the stadium for the protest, then they're going to say they won. That's the way I see it, just personally me.
They win either way, though, because you're paying to come in those stadiums.
They don't win either way, nothing, okay? Because you know why? I'm coming to my second point right here, and I'm coming Malcolm X, straight to the point. 70% of the players in the NFL are black males. Donald Trump called my mother a bitch.
So
wait a minute. Hold on. No, stop right there.
So they should refuse to play.
Wait a minute. Stop right there, because I'm going to bring it right home. Right home.
Refuse to play.
I'm going to tell everybody right here. This is it. You understand? You called my mother a bitch. Right. That's fighting words. Right. That's telling Jerry Jones, fuck you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to kneel down. You got a contract with me for $50,000, $100, $200, $1 million. Bench me.
Right.
Bench me.
Right.
And I want you to bench me.
Right.
And every black player should come out for Dallas Sunday and kneel down, get benched, then sue Jerry Jones and NFL.
I agree.
Okay.
I think that makes more sense than all the people for the protest filling the stadium, because those owners are reaping the benefits of those ticket sales.
Well, I'm just talking about supporting the guys when they do this. You got to be there to show the support. To let them know.
Well,
see,
storm the door then. Don't pay to get in.
Well, I don't care how you get in, okay? But I'm telling you this. You got to let them know we're here for you. There's 70% black males in the NFL. If they not going to walk out, why in the hell should I burn my $300 jersey?
Right.
Why should I give up my TV, my beer, my parties? Why should I mess up my Sunday? And why should I take up a fight for a person who don't want to fight for themselves?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Now come on, this is the problem with the community. We letting these people in the community rape us.
That's where the real test comes
Right.
in.
We letting these people in the community rape us. The drug boys. Go up and down the street. You got all these old ladies living in the house, like they're in prison with all the gates and everything locked up in
those
there.
Not the drug boy. Those are the drug addicts.
Well, it don't make a difference, okay? Because the man of the community should step up and take block by block and let these motherfuckers know we ain't taking it no more.
But we ain't gonna do that because they don't got the right state of mind. We lost.
There you go. There you go. We have completely, and that's the problem right there. That's why these multi-millionaires in the NFL has to stand up against the owner, because Jerry Jones has just come out and told you that you do what I say do, I own you. Okay. He don't own anything, because guess what? If Dak Prescott comes out and kneel down, there's Bryant going to kneel down. Zeke gone anyway because he get the court ruled against him. Okay, everybody else is going to kneel down. Okay, if he benched Zeke or if he benched Dez, just like in London, the word's going to spread around the stadium. If those 70 players walk off the field and walk out the stadium and go home, what they going to do?
Right.
Seriously, what they going to do?
And it's not just the black players, all the whole team.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. The white players support the black players 100%. Okay? There's a misunderstanding there. And we're going to go back into that because I talked to the one guy. Where's that paper at, right? I talked to the one guy. He's a United States veteran. He was a Green Beret. He served 6 tours, multiple tours in both Afghanistan and Iraq. His name is, where's his name at right there? Oh, his name is Nate Boyer. We posted this to our Facebook page, STMK Radio 100 on the Facebook page. Go look at his story. Look at what he said. He's the one that told Colin Kaepernick to kneel. He supported Colin Kaepernick. We had the thing, we did with the veterans.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The veterans have already said that they support Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Okay. This has been turned into something that it should have never been turned into.
Exactly.
Okay. Colin Kaepernick was one man that sat in 10 different stadiums in front of 85,000 different fans, with another 70 million watching TV, with another 100 or 3, 4, 5,000 walking around the stadium doing whatever they wanted to do. To all you Indian fans last night, did you watch the game on Fox Sports 1? They showed the pitchers warming up, okay? I didn't see the pitchers stop warming up when the national anthem played.
Right.
I didn't see those police officers standing there in the bullpen turn and take their hat off or go into a salute stand when the national anthem played.
Right.
Okay? When they took the cameras and went out where people was buying beers and getting hot dogs, I didn't see nobody stop doing what they were supposed to be doing and turn around for the national anthem.
Right.
Okay? So they let one person, one person, and now they have burned, it's like starting a forest fire in California, okay? They lit the match because one reporter asked him, and he specifically told them, and let me see if I can pull that back up here again. I don't know where that is at, but I think that's right there.
I've seen, I felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally, and it is something that's evolved. It's something as I've gained more knowledge about, what's going on in this. I've seen, I felt.
Wait a minute, that ain't the one I want right there. I think this is it right here. The control room, give me a little break.
And make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust. People aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
Now you hear him, and he's very articulate what he's saying. He's saying, and he's telling you why he's doing this.
This is Mayor Frank Jackson.
Just to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust. People aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
Is this something that's evolved as a philosophy in your mind, and how has this kind of progressed that you make a stand like this?
It's something that I've seen, I felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally, and
so you listen to Colin Kaepernick. He's explaining very well that it has nothing to do with the flag, it has nothing to do with our veterans, and it has nothing to do with anything else but inequality and the in-portion treatment of people in the community. Okay, and I'm gonna go a step further because when we get Saxman on the phone, we're gonna talk about some things that happen, and the inequality and mistreatment goes both ways. It goes for our Latino brothers, it goes for our own brothers, and it goes for our Caucasian brothers also. Okay, because some of them has been mistreated and lost their life also in an unjust way. Okay, and all police officers, I'll go back to the other thing, all police officers are not bad, okay? But the question is for our conversation, and I say this all the time, if we have to say all, then we admit that there's a problem.
And you know what the problem is? Of course, there's some rotten apples. Of course, there's some people, some evil people wearing the uniforms. But the ones that we stand up for, that we say are not bad, they don't address those bad apples. They don't check them. They don't run them out of the police force.
And that's the issue. That's the issue. If we had
that's the
more,
problem.
if we had more of the people who work for the police department and the FBI and the DEA and the CIA, if the good ones went to those rotten ones and gave their opinion, their real opinion as a man, as opposed
just run them out. Like,
as
you don't belong here. You soiling up
well,
this uniform.
We have a case out in New York where
either clean them up or kick them out.
Right, where a police officer went against his partner in the field making an arrest. We're going to talk to Saxon Man about that because he's supposed to check that out. But I want to go back to the point where we started at, Tone, because I want to go back to the point of I see this going to court. Okay, and what I was saying is for everybody to understand this, because we got lawyers in the chat room before we go in with D knows, is that your employer sets the rules for the type of employment you do, and that's what everybody want to go on now. But the NFL has said that they support the players. Now the president and them has come out and made the NFL change their mind, or made Jerry Jones change his mind. Now Donald Trump has committed 2 cardinal sins. One, the Supreme Court has already ruled in a landmark case, West Virginia Board of Education versus Bartlett, 1943, that no government agency can force anybody to do anything, okay? And with the kids being told now that they have to stand for the national anthem, those schools districts are inviting lawsuits, which they're going to lose because the Supreme Court already told them that they're committing an unconstitutional act. And that's one where Donald Trump has involved the federal government. The second is a federal law that says that no government agency should interfere with a private entity, okay, unless it comes from certain ways, okay? So that's a problem that Donald Trump has right there. But I see somebody, ULSC, somebody, or the ACLU suing an NFL team or the NFL on behalf of the players because they're forcing their religious beliefs. Because there's some people who may be Jehovah's Witnesses playing football that is against their religion to stand for the flag. Okay? So I see this happening, and I see it going to court, and then the NFL is going to leave their cell phone for a whole lot of headaches. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to go into the chat room with D knows. I see some smoke. D, what's going on up in there? Is the chat room on fire?
Well, Chanel, the chat room is on fire. The debate over actions taken during the national anthem continues. We want to know your thoughts and have opened our chat room to let you express your thoughts and opinions in a respectful manner. And everyone is letting their opinions show. R. Johnson, Fox, faux, fake. Refuse to click on anything Fox. Glenn Hall, I support athletes' right to protest against police murdering Americans. I support Pence's right to protect for the police murdering Americans. Though I think he's a white identity extremist for doing so. But I absolutely do not support Pence using our tax dollars to protest in favor of police killing Americans. Jeffrey Richardson, he left the game because he thought that kneeling was disrespectful. But he is the vice president to a president who said, I like people who weren't captured, when insinuating John McCain was not a hero. Mr. Pence is a joke. Steve Fontaine. Ron Johnson. Then why did you click on Fox? Just to act trollish? Cynthia Powers. This is no debating. Despite the fact that kneeling is not a sign of disrespect, it's to honor the fallen. Look it up. Kaepernick is honoring a different type of fallen. But it's still no disrespect to our flag or U.S. forces. But when you tell this to people, you tell them the reason for him kneeling, they don't want to hear it. Either they stick to their story or they keep saying, but. They don't want to try and understand or reason, so it's not possible to debate. James R. Devereaux Sr. Boycott the NFL. Exclamation mark. To use the national anthem as a prop for BLM, Team Unity, or Homeless Kitten is wrong. The national anthem doesn't belong to the NFL. It was bought and paid for with the blood and sacrifices of our nation's veterans. For the NFL to support disrespecting our flag, our nation, or our veterans despite NFL rules that prohibit it is despicable. Just because you have a right to do something doesn't make what you do right. Kirsten Gill. Oh, please, this was staged. Let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. How about trying to rein in your toddler boss from starting World War III? T. May. Thank you, sir. Deb Wadlow. True Americans understand we do not force other Americans to honor the flag. North Korea and China do that. Duh. Real Deal 101. Vice President Mike Pence pulls expensive taxpayer-funded PR stunt at NFL game. That's the headline. Fixed it for you. Megan Stover. Says the Vice President who disrespects the Constitution by getting angry at those exercising their constitutional First Amendment right to free speech. Says the man who is the VP to a very undignified president. And on the funny side, a policeman pulls a man over for speeding and asks him to get out of the car. After looking the man over, he says, "Sir, I couldn't help but notice your eyes are bloodshot. Have you been drinking?" The man gets really indignant and says, "Officer, I couldn't help but notice your eyes are glazed. Have you been eating donuts?" And that's what's happening in the chat room.
And D knows we're going to come back with you, D, later on because we want to go right here. And something you said that, Tone the Stone, Mike Pence spent close to $500,000 to pull that stunt. That's $500,000 could have went to Puerto Rico. Facebook Live, thank you for being with us. James, come on, let's tap in and get on the phone because I know you got something you want to say. So let our hearers hear what you got to say from the land. You too, Michael Wilkin is in the I-10 sitting in the rush hour traffic. Thank you, my brother, for being with us. And yes, your class did sign in on the chat room. They're in there with D Knows, and we're going to get with them later on. But right now, I want to go to this Tony Stone, is that the Department of Justice wants your Facebook account. If you said anything bad about President Trump, they want your Facebook account.
For what? That's probably 3/4 of the population.
Hey, the ACLU in D.C. is trying to stop 3 search warrants that a judge has signed and the Department of Justice has issued to Facebook and Twitter. And they're asking for any person, or they're demanding any person account that posted anything negative about the 45th POTUS.
They don't got enough personnel to go over. I'm telling you, that's everybody. That's a lot of people that posted some bad stuff about that man. But
that's 98% of the world's population.
They probably getting the itch that somebody gonna try to gun them down. They not gonna find that person on. Whoever gonna try to gun them down ain't gonna be posted on Facebook.
But is the thing, James? What's up? Give us. Oh yeah, we got somebody calling us right now on the phone. It's my man right now from the C-Town. Everybody on the telephone. We got James. Come on in here with us, my baby.
How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to hear you because we started off, and I'm glad you called because we just went to our second part right here. Your 45th POTUS has asked Facebook and his Department of Justice want everybody's account that has said something bad about them. I think you better get ready for a midnight knock.
Well, I'll put it to to him like this. Anytime you want to hear from me, all you got to do is give me a call. I'm going to know how I feel about it.
So James, ladies and gentlemen from Facebook, YouTube, LA, ATL's in the house, DC, and Orlando, we have Mr. James on the phone with us. And this brother right here keep it real. He keeps it real. And on his Facebook page, he goes in. I'm gonna have to get some bail money, so we're gonna do a GoFund for you,
you
James.
gonna make the top of their list.
Oh, he's on the top of the list. Hey, the POTUS want him. Hey, you know they turned James in. Though. They got sessions right now with James on a billboard looking for him. Okay.
They got some little dragonfly drones flying around your windows at your house right now.
So James,
well, you know, when they talk about America's Most Wanted, well, I want to be number one.
Hey,
bring it on, son.
Right.
So James, let me ask you this question, Ray, because before we already went over the American anthem and all that stuff, and we know your views on this. But let me ask you this question: that stunt that was staged Sunday for $500,000, and they haven't still added up because they haven't added pre-team. If anybody ever did a security detail for the president, they know that people come in days ahead of time to do things also. Right. So they haven't even added that in yet. But James, tell me what you think about that.
Well, son, I don't know how your show is rated, but I don't want to.
No, you on the internet. Hey, you on the internet. You can say anything you want. You don't got to worry about the FCC. Hey, that's why I love internet radio. Go ahead and let it go.
Make it hot.
No, I'm going to respect the women listeners on here, so I'm not going to give you the full 100. But let me say this, Sean. When I filed my taxes this year, I expect a total refund of every dime I done spent this year. This administration, quite frankly, hasn't produced one piece of legislation that benefits anyone in America.
Well, that's what Tony Stone just said. You're right.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. But yet, we paid for quite a few golf outings and Secret Service for Melania in New York or wherever else he's at. And him in Washington and all of his little children running around. I think Trump owes this country quite a bit of money at this point. I mean, it's like he's at a country club.
Well,
and America's footing the bill.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this. I don't mind Donald Trump going golfing. I don't mind Donald Trump going to all his little golf outways and everything. Cause long as he's there and he's not in the White House, then we don't have to worry about him thinking about nothing but golfing. So I'm not really going. I'm not going to knock that. Okay.
That's not the case because whenever he comes back from golfing, whenever he makes his way back to the Oval Office, if he has something to sign. He has no idea what he's signing.
Okay, but that's
he has no idea what he's doing.
Hey, that's okay. I'd rather have him doing that. Okay, I'd rather have him doing that.
That's when it's
because if you look at this, James, and I said this on the Monday show when I was talking to the veteran Nate Boyer that talked with Kaepernick and told Kaepernick instead of sitting, kneel, and he told me something. And when the phones lit up, okay, that I didn't know, and I'm gonna say this because I'm not a buff of the Confederate War and everything. But Robert E. Lee, every time he heard the national anthem, he took his hat off and kneeled.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, out of respect.
That's historical?
That's historical,
document?
right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and he was a war hero, okay? So.
Okay, you said he kneeled in reverence to the flag.
Right, to the flag national anthem.
Not the Confederate flag, to the American flag.
Well, then it was Confederacy anyway. The American flag was split. He had already made his choice.
Right, but the national anthem was the same national anthem,
The same national anthem.
But they were just saluting the Confederate flag.
Right.
See,
from
Let me jump in here 1 second, Sean.
Go ahead.
Let me say that Donald Trump has effectively changed the narrative of why Colin knelt in the first place.
And I agree with that.
It was about, and though I understand the debate, the narrative continues to change to what it was never about. And we as a nation should not allow that narrative to change one iota.
Well, see, this is the problem that we have.
I mean, we have black lives that are people being murdered. This is unprecedented.
Well,
people are being murdered in America.
Well, this is something
and
I want. Nobody's talking about that. And nobody's talking about that, and I agree with that. But this is something I wanted to talk. But since we got you here, and we're gonna hit Saxman with it later on in the thing. The last 4 major cases coming out of the DOJ from the Obama era is one, the Chicago policeman that just got convicted and doing a mandatory 10 years for civil rights violation that shot 16 times into the stolen car. Okay. Then you have the thing right now in Utah, which I don't agree with. And I'm going to say this so everybody listen to me before y'all get all up on me about the nurse. Okay. I don't agree with what happened. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you know why. Because that detective talked to somebody in authority. Okay. If anybody should have been fired, it should have been the person in authority who told him to arrest the nurse. Okay.
Oh no. Oh, you talking about his supervisor?
His supervisor.
Okay.
He got fired. His supervisor got demoted.
Oh, okay. You're saying that he shouldn't have got in trouble because he was following orders. His chain of command told him. Okay.
Because if my sergeant told me, or
so he couldn't
my
refuse
boss,
that order, right?
Right, told me to arrest her, do whatever. I'd arrest her.
I agree with that.
I might not have snatched her out of the way he did it, but I'd arrest her.
That makes sense.
Okay,
yeah.
But why you're going to fire me?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The lieutenant who controls me, who I'm talking to, who should have told me, who should have known the law, and I tell this to all police officers: if you don't know the law, don't enforce it.
Right.
Okay. So I think he should have been fired.
Right.
And then I should have been demoted from detective back to patrol.
Right. That makes perfect sense. But see, that's the problem in this country, man. The things that make sense, for some reason, it don't go like that. Like, for some reason, the man who had all the authority, he still has his job. He took a little pay cut or whatever, or demotion. But the man who was just doing what he was told to do, and if he didn't follow those orders, he probably would have been in even more trouble. He would have still lost his job, and who knows what happened.
And that's the problem. And James, you are correct that we have let this narrative change. Okay, and I think the problem with this narrative is, I remember when I went into law enforcement in 1979, the good officers stood up and took control of the departments. And I don't know if it's the administration that just got everybody that is just so beat down, nobody cares or nothing, because we just had a case out in New York where a young officer stepped up and forced a veteran officer from violating somebody's rights. Okay? And I can remember right here in Cleveland, out of the old 6th district, a patrolman named Curtis Green knocked out a sergeant, okay, in the field. And I was a rookie when he called him a nasty name and stepped to him. So, and I mean, in the old days, they didn't play that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So maybe there's something there with the veteran officers who came behind me, something that they lost, something that they should know.
Maybe some of them were victims of that ass whooping.
And they need to right now call out the officers, because if you don't call out the bad officers, it reminds me of something that Johnny Cochran said during the OJ trial. It's something about one bad apple that affects the whole barrel.
Yeah.
Okay,
and that is true.
And that's where we have to think in our mindset, because I know a lot of great police officers, black, white, Puerto Rican, male, females, and I mean they go out every day and do a hell of a job.
And you know what?
And do it right.
I know of a similar sort of sentiment from the military, in the Army. When I was in the Army, I joined 1998, and the old guys, the old sergeants used to say, the sergeants and officers, they got their little beefs that they go back and forth,
Right.
And they say back in the day, they could fight. Like, if they had a problem with each other, you could go out back and duke it out. Nowadays, even if you're a sergeant, you a ranked sergeant, if you more veteran, you a seasoned veteran, you got 10, 15, 20 years over this lieutenant who just came in. He's 4 years out of college, and he's got a lieutenant badge because it's a college degree. But if he wants to, he can ruin your whole career.
But, somebody in the chat room just said something about a Marine. And, James, you was in the Army. And other Marines out there, hey, Marines, you know that I love you, because somebody, a jarhead right here from San Diego, just said The Marines are only as good as their weakest link. Their weakest link. And the way they tighten up their weakest link is in the middle of the night, the whole damn barracks grab a hold of them and pull them into one and let them know. Ain't no more slipping, boy.
Or get them out of there. You
Okay.
gotta chase them out of there.
Now, this is what a Marine just said. They go and tighten up that weak link, and they not weak no more.
Well, it don't always work. That's what I say. You give them a chance or two. You whoop them, you give them an opportunity or two. And then if they don't get it the first or two times, then you got to run them out of there. They got to go.
Okay, so the Marines are saying that. I want everybody to know the Marines are saying that. They don't have no weak links because they tighten it up. And I think that's what the police department need to do.
Of course the Marines going to say that, but
well,
you find Marines, you find the weak links anywhere.
I don't have
always a weak link.
I don't have no problem with that. Hey, James, I'm telling you right now, I like, strong people. Tighten them up.
Right.
Like the man, what's my boy, Jack Nicholas? When Jack Nicholas told him, you can't handle what I'm going to say.
Right.
You ain't ready for it, okay? When you stand on that wall in the middle of the night and hold that rifle, then you come down and tell me how to do my job, okay? And I agree with that.
Right.
And I agree with my police officers' friends, okay? Because they're out here dealing with a part of society that nobody want to deal with, okay? And I'm going to say this right here. And I walk that walk.
But you know what? I'm going to cut you off right there because a lot of them don't even want to deal with it, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
I agree with that.
That's the problem.
They
don't want to do the job that they signed up for.
That's why they should leave.
Right.
If you don't, if your heart's not in the job and you're not going to do it properly, get out.
Right.
Because you're putting your life in jeopardy. You're putting my life in jeopardy.
You're making things worse for everybody.
You're putting somebody else's life in jeopardy because guess what? James knows this more than anybody. If James called for help, he's expecting help to come. Okay. But James is an old timer like me. I ain't gonna let y'all know how old he is, but he's an old timer like me. Okay, we was trained, and I got trained for everybody in the city of Cleveland. We talking about the land. Is that I was trained by Sergeant John Horvath, who was a Marine. Okay, you didn't come out of his academy, out of that gym to go upstairs. Now he told you how bad the brass was. He told you how bad the streets was, but he told you one thing. You're not leaving my gym until you can fight for 3 minutes.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And I don't care if you was a 90-pound man or a 70-pound woman. Your badge number went into the hopper, and when your badge number got pulled, you had to dance.
Right.
Okay? And he taught you this because in the streets, if I get into a confrontation with somebody, I have to have confidence that I can hold my own.
Right.
Or I can protect myself.
Right.
And if I don't have that confidence, then guess what happens? I use my secondary weapons. But if I have that confidence,
kill somebody when it wasn't not necessary.
Well, it's necessary. I'm gonna go back to there right here, Tone. You know how you and Sachs get into it. And James, I want you to understand this too. If I have to kill somebody, it's necessary.
No, it's not.
Okay, because in my mind, I'm gonna tell you this, the old saying, I don't care who get mad. Wait a minute.
You're speaking about you personally. You're not speaking
me personally. Any police officer.
That's not your philosophy. No, but see, that's
any
not
police
right.
Officer,
That's not.
Any police officer.
So you're saying all these killings are justified?
No,
then.
I didn't say the killings are justified. I said going home is the number one priority. I will go to court.
Everybody's number one priority.
I will go to court and be judged by 12. Okay. But I'm going home.
So what's the difference between a guy growing up in the projects and he got to walk through these gangs and these drug dealers and these drug addicts,
you know the difference?
and he carry a gun because he knows one of these days when somebody might test me and I might have to kill him. But he go to court. He go to court. He gonna end up serving 20, 30 years for just trying to
for having
make
it
on
him.
him.
Just for having it on him.
I agree with that. The law is messed up, but you have to look at this also. How many people in that scenario goes to jail or happens?
A lot of people.
Most of our young black men, keep it real.
Not police officers, but a lot of black men go to jail.
Right. A lot of black men go to jail. A lot of them go for disapportion, okay? A lot of them have different scenarios and different situations because their sons have to eat too, okay? If we don't give them a job and we don't educate them, we create the problem of crime. And the black-on-black crime starts in the neighborhood. But let me say this. He's not bringing the drugs in.
Right.
He's not bringing the guns in. Why are gun manufacturers dropping guns on trail cars, unprotected, in inner cities? Okay.
That just made me think.
Okay. So I mean, let's keep it real. Guns and drugs affect the inner city and police officers. It affects the police officers because the police officers are the ones who have to deal with the people in the inner city. If I'm a gangbanger and I got a gun, I'm going to use it on a police officer because the police officer is going to be the one who's trying to interfere in my production. Okay, everybody else, no, leave Sean
Unless
alone.
everybody has an understanding. Okay, if you're not raping no woman, if you're not bullying no children, you're not beating up no old people, you're not victimizing innocent people,
in the hood,
then we're not going to bother you. See, when you start arresting people for I mean, I know selling drugs is illegal, but hey, those people, the drug addicts are the ones who need help. If they weren't getting high, then those drug dealers wouldn't have a profession.
And there you go. And what did I tell you?
So by sending them to jail, that's just further disenfranchising the community.
Who bringing the drugs in? Let's go to the 80s. James, let's go back to the 80s.
Yes, sir.
In 1980, in our war on drugs, we disproportionately, okay, because of the fear, the same thing that's happening right now, the fear of black men, okay. Then the gangs came in, okay. Now, if I was white and I had cocaine, I might got probation or went to jail for maybe 3 years. If I was black and I had cocaine and it was rock form, I may got a life sentence, okay, or 25. Then California put the 3 strikes you out, okay. If you don't rehab me in prison and you don't give me a education and you don't give me a career or you don't teach me how to take care of myself when I get out of prison, where do you think I'm going when I get out?
Right.
I'm going back to the game I got to eat.
Right.
Okay. So that means my 3 strikes are going to come much more quicker. Now, I'm going to tell you an old story, James, and you probably understand this too, is that as a black man, if I get into the prison to school pipeline, I can go lay in the gutter with a white kid or a rich kid, okay? But there's 2 things, okay? He can go home, take a shower, put on a suit, and go to rehab, come out tomorrow, even though he was a junkie like me, and get a job at a Fortune 5 company. I don't have that option.
Right.
Okay? And we got to be serious about this, okay? If we're going to do something as black people, okay, as black leaders, as the mayor, James, as the elders, okay, because the elders have to come back and get you, okay? And if you remember,
we all in it together.
We have to be in it together.
Sean, this is a subject matter for a whole other show, and I especially, I want to get in because I know Sax. I know I will change Sax's whole life if we had this discussion right here. But my point that I was trying to make is that the police, like they don't have to be so fearful for their life. If they look for the low lives, the people who need to be going to jail, not business.
But who said they're fear for their life?
I think
they always said. They said.
Wait,
that's what I was just about to say, because that's baloney.
See, you have to.
They always say they paranoid. That's why they so quick. That's why they so quick to
Mr.
pull
Black,
the trigger.
when you tell them again, see, you have to know. No, I'm gonna have to say this again. No, every police officer shooting, you have to rule on his own merits. Okay, because they are not the same. Okay, but those officers. Number one problem is they are not shooting people because they're scared.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Well,
no,
okay,
I agree.
No, you're right. You're right.
They can't be scared.
They might not always be shooting because they're scared. Because if the guy running away and they shoot him in the back, you're not scared. What are you scared of?
But I'm I'm just telling you, they're not scared. Okay,
they can't be scared because for one, they got all the protection.
Right now, and if you look at this,
also,
I'm
just saying what they say. They are paranoid.
Okay.
These are words I've heard police officers say.
Tone. Why would you even admit if you look at the prison? Yeah, you're gonna say you're scared, but you're not scared. If you're scared, why'd you get out the car?
Right.
Well.
Okay. Why?
So you saying
why
that's
did
just,
I make women?
They just saying.
Why did I make? Wait a minute.
What they want the
James,
people to hear.
I
get it.
Why
I
you
get
make
it.
James?
I get it now. I get
step
it.
in here
and
tell him if you're scared, what you gonna do?
I get it now.
You gonna ride on down the street?
I get it now. Right. So what you're saying without saying is that they just want to kill somebody. That's
no, I'm not saying they want to kill anybody.
I believe so. Especially I would say not the full force. That would just be crazy. But I do feel like it's within the academy. It's what they're teaching, I believe, honestly, because they're teaching aggression. If you come to any other man and you come into them aggressively, that man is going
Now,
to
there you
have
go.
a problem with that.
Well, James, you're
Let me
come
jump
in,
in here
James.
real quick.
Let James jump in. Come on in, James.
Let me jump in here real quick. Let me say that I've been through the training, and it's not that they're training you just to kill people. They're actually training you to survive. At least that's how I interpreted my training. The same as in the military. We teach you to kill or be killed. The military and police department are two totally separate genres, for lack of a better term. In the military, you're going to war. You're expected to kill. So you're taught those survival skills. Mm-hmm. In the civilian world, when you talk about law enforcement, you're taught to survive.
And de-escalation now, because they're teaching de-escalation.
When I put a weapon on every day, my intent is not to go out here and try to find somebody to kill. That may be true with some, not the majority of law enforcement. The majority of law enforcement are decent, good people.
Right, and I agree with that.
Yeah. But then you always...
What he say that the majority of law enforcement
are good, decent people.
Decent people.
Are decent people the majority?
Right.
Do the majority of the law enforcement show their decency?
I'm going to say yes. You know why I'm going to say yes? Because let me say this. Police officers handle millions of calls a day. You only have maybe 2 bad incidents, okay? And you got hundreds. Just think about all the police departments across
2 to get reported or make the news.
Or even make the news. I'll even give you up to 100 bad incidents. And even the ones who don't get reported is still less than 5%.
Well, because like I said, this is a subject for a whole different show. I won't go so far as to say that most police are decent. I'll say that most police are average people. We're all subject to frustration and having a bad day and making a bad decision.
You know, I always say, look at.
I won't say most of them are decent people because I know a lot of cops and they're just. Most of the people in the streets are decent people, you know. But yeah, they still get too drunk and they pick a fight for no good reason. And we're not just talking about police shooters, you know. We're talking about misconduct across the board. You know, the shooters are what make the headlines nowadays. But police conduct doesn't just involve shooting somebody.
I agree with that too. But guess what? Okay, police officers are pick of society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means if you have a drug addict in society, you have a good chance of having a drug addict police officer.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a person that has anger problems in society, okay, they're society. Mm-hmm. There's no machines. There's no person that you can say would never do nothing wrong.
So why are they teaching that at the academy to have that aggression?
Well, I'm not.
That's my thing. I feel like they teaching that at like as soon as y'all get the badge, it's like, okay, bam. I am who I am. Nobody's about to be over me.
But that may be an individual.
Okay.
Aggression is
because
not a problem
you got
for
a
me.
lot of women that comes on the force that are
with that demeanor.
Let me say this, Tom. Let me say this. You know, when we're confronted with an issue, we always ask. We ask for cooperation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't receive that cooperation, then we're going to tell you we need this cooperation. If that doesn't come, then we're going to make you cooperate.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. But how can you make another? You are a man yourself. You're going to make another grown man cooperate with you.
No, I understand
well,
that,
Mr.
James.
Black, let me ask you this
that.
question here, Mr. Black. Let me explain this to you, Mr. Black, and I'm glad you asked that because police officers have the responsibility to solve problems, okay? And if the police come, that means that problem's out of control, okay? And you don't pay police officers to get beat up. You don't pay police officers to walk away. You don't pay police officers to run. You pay that man or that woman to come to that house, handle that problem, or take the person away that's causing the problems.
Okay.
So if you look at the training is to now they're doing de-escalation. We got police officers on Facebook Live that just said that and some other stuff. You training your law enforcement officers in 4 different fields. Okay, One, you're training them to be frontline to terrorists. Okay. Two, you're training them to be social workers. Then you're training them to be paramedics. Then you're training them to be psych doctors. Reagan closed all the nut hospitals. Okay. Then you're training them to be social workers. Okay. When you start training these individuals, and I'm gonna say this, and everybody else been saying this, but I'm gonna take it to a new level, is that they ought to require associate degrees for law enforcement officers. And you ought to put them in the academy for almost a year.
Yeah, I agree
but
with that.
But the problem is, if you're going to take
bachelor's degree,
if you're going to take that stance with the turnover, you got to hire mass police officers, okay? Because you're putting people's lives in danger. Like Cleveland. Cleveland is 500 some officers down, 160 some off. You're putting other officers' lives in danger, okay? But if you're going to make me do all these things, then you need to train me. I'm not a psych doctor. I'm not a social worker. I'm not a marriage counselor. Okay.
Wait, the academy was what, 6 months now?
The academy 6 months.
I think that's long enough, but I do
No,
agree with the degree though.
It's not long enough.
I agree with both of y'all. I agree with that. It's not long enough, but I don't agree with you on just the associates. I think they need to have a bachelor's.
Because you got a person.
You should go. You should have to go like that's a regular job.
You got a person doing hair
4 years
that has more requirements on them. Then you have a person that's carrying a gun that you have given the life and death decision to.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what society has done, and I hate to get the analogy, but I think everybody understands this. They have taken a job that's for a high school senior and told somebody in the 6th grade, here, you can have a job. Okay. Now, do you expect that 6th grader to have the same mentality and understanding of that 12th grader?
Definitely not.
Okay, so if you're going to give me all these jobs, then you have to train me. That's the problem with police officers dealing with people with mental illnesses. We cannot understand or recognize that person need help. Okay, you know why? Because when he's being aggressive, I'm trained to meet force with force. I'm trained to stop the aggression. Okay? So if I'm trained to stop the aggression or meet force with force, and I have a person who's mentally ill, and I think he's trying to hurt me, and actually what he's trying to do is ask me for help, who's wrong?
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but because ultimately, actually, what it sounds like you're saying is, in the grand scheme of things, a police officer's job is ultimately to handle an emergency situation, right or wrong?
That's correct.
Okay. My opinion is that is what their job is supposed to be. But for some strange reason, it seems as if they're going to the scene to create an emergency situation.
Well, it's not always create. It's circumstances dictate. See, this is the problem with everybody don't understand.
It's the totality of the situation.
Right.
You know, when a police officer is summoned somewhere, the problem is already there. When they arrive to resolve whatever that as quickly and as safely as they possibly can.
Classic example,
That
James.
is their job.
Classic example.
I'm sorry?
The classic example for what Mr. Black's saying. When the police officers went to the hotel in Vegas, okay, all shit has already hit the fan. They was outgunned. Only good thing is that Vegas got rolling SWAT teams 24 hours a day. Think about if that was Cleveland. Look at the shooting in L.A., okay? You're talking about an average person with a 9mm who just dropped their babies off at daycare or just dropped his wife off at work, sitting in a black and white. They ain't got no armor on it, okay?
Yeah, but those are extreme situations.
No, it's not.
You can't compare that to the everyday patrol.
It's not extreme situation. You know why?
Man,
because
every day is extreme.
I could take you right now to put you in a police car. Anybody out here, come get in the police car with me, and let me take you across I-90 from Eddy Road down to 200 at 150 miles an hour coming across that burn, okay? That ain't an average day, baby.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is once I get that car going and get that lights and sirens going and hit that speed and we start chasing somebody, your adrenaline start going, you start thinking, you not looking, Other people not looking. Now we both going.
But once again, that's not an everyday occurrence.
That is every day.
No, it is every day. No, he's right. It is every day. It is every day. That was bringing me to my next point. That was bringing me to my next point.
And furthermore, hold on one second. Hold on one second, bro. Furthermore, Sean, you know that I've dibbled and dabbled in these streets. I'm not gonna do or say nothing to incriminate myself, but I done been chased. I done been, I done been the one being chased by the flash of lights, okay? And I done been all in these streets of Cleveland, and I've been in the streets of LA, streets of Atlanta. Okay, so I say I know what goes on. I'm not trying to undermine the police officer's job.
I'm just saying at the end. What happened at the end of that chase when you and him met up?
I got away.
Okay, so you got away. Okay, but what would have happened by you trying to get away and we run into my backyard with all these big fences around there, and the only way you can get away is got to come through me.
It ain't never happened to me. It ain't never happened to me.
This is my thing. I agree with what you were saying, how it's extreme. If you have an emergency situation, they gotta put on the lights. He gotta hit I-90 doing the 100. What I have a problem is, what about the times when the sirens come on and there is no emergency situation because the sirens are specifically used for emergency situations?
Well, there again, we talking about individuals, and you can't speak for individuals. But James, I want you to go back to not to say this, but I want you to go back to your Facebook page and tell us what you think about that. The DOJ wanting your page.
Quite frankly, I'm not afraid of it. I don't know about anybody else, but last I realized that I'm living in the United States of America, and unless the Constitution of this great nation has changed, I'm not sure just because Donald Trump is upset with me, then that's okay. It's his right. I'll give him that. That's protected under the Constitution, as is my right to disagree with what he's doing.
Well,
I'm not afraid of the Department of Justice. They certainly can come here at any time and question me about anything I've said. But, one thing that I've learned when I come up, if I can say it once, I can say it twice.
Right.
So, if he wants to hear it regurgitated, I'll be more than happy to accommodate.
Well, James, we thank you for that, and we thank you for calling in, and we always love you up here with us because you do keep it real. We're going to try to get everybody out of the chat room, but hey, James, thank you for calling us, and we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Sean. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, James. It's always a pleasure.
James.
Now, hey, everybody, we're going to go into the chat room because we try to get everybody. This is a free-for-all Thursday. We're going to get our man on the beat on the telephone so Tony Stone can have a piece of him. But before we do that, let's go into the chat room and see what's happening with D Nose.
Tell you something, we got to stop the violence, we got to vote. Stop the violence and vote.
Tone Stone. And now, let's go into the chat room and see what they doing with D Nose. I hear the fire department coming, and it's heated. Let's see what they're talking about with the DOJ wanting your Facebook account.
Well, Chanel, the chat room has now been upgraded to a 3-alarm fire, and they're letting their opinions show. DOJ demands Facebook information from anti-administration activists. Ed Murphy, just the idea that Trump thinks he has the right to this info is appalling. This truly is how dictators gain control of people. It's terribly un-American. Please, generals, hold the coup. Have the Marines and the Secret Service arrest Trump and save the nation. Madeline Rubin McGovern, un-American, unconstitutional. We have the right to peaceful protest under the First Amendment. What's Trump going to do with this information? Send those protesters to concentration camps? Dan Golden, bah ha ha ha. Commies love justice and investigations, only not when they are the ones being looked at. Insurrection. Define insurrection, a usually violent attempt to take control of a government. Equals treason, sedition, and subversive activities. Sanjay Glass. Why is he planning on rounding us all up for execution? Or is he going to give names to his Klansmen for hanging? The Trump administration are White House terrorists. David Pohasuk. Why? Did you do something wrong? Jack Eric Williams, expanding his enemy list, looking for dirt on citizens expressing their right to march and protest. But, as his word proves, it depends on what you are wearing and what flag you carry, whether you are considered an enemy. And on the lighter side, Funny Side 88 said, I got the funny chair now. How is Christmas like your job? You do all the work, and the fat guy in the suit gets all the credit. And that's what's happening in the chat room with Dee's Nose.
Tell you something, we gotta stop the violence, we gotta vote. Stop the violence and vote.
How can you achieve and maintain business growth? Harvard Business School Executive Education is now accepting applications for a new program, Driving Profitable Growth, taking place in Boston from October 25th through the 28th. This program focuses on business expansion and organizational growth strategies that can lead your company into the future. Learn more about this 3-day program for senior leaders by visiting hbs.me/growth. That's hbs.me/growth.
AP Radio News. I'm Ed Donahue. The AP has received a recording of what some U.S. Embassy employees heard in Havana. Some became sick. The AP's Josh Lederman reports it's suspected to be part of a sonic attack.
The first time I heard the recording, it reminded me of crickets, but there was a distinct electronic sound, as if this was something that was created mechanically as opposed to by some creation you'd see in nature. The recording gives us the first tangible sense of what it was like for these American government workers in Havana who were hearing these unexplained sounds in their residences and later developed physical symptoms.
The government says it's still not known what is responsible for the injuries. Cuba has denied involvement or knowledge of the attacks. It was a rare appearance. Chief of Staff John Kelly spoke at today's White House press briefing.
I'm not quitting today. I don't believe, and I just talked to the president, I don't think I'm being fired today.
Kelly also says he is not frustrated with his job. There were reports Kelly was frustrated as chief of staff. President Trump signed an executive order he says provides relief from the Obama Affordable Care Act.
With these actions, we are moving toward lower costs and more options in the healthcare market and taking crucial steps towards saving the American people from the nightmare of Obamacare.
Recovery teams, some with cadaver dogs, will start searching for bodies in some areas devastated by wildfires in California wild country. The number of dead is up to 24. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly says American Caitlin Coleman and her family were essentially living in a hole in Pakistan for 5 years. Kelly credited with Pakistan with playing a key role in their rescue from a group linked to the Taliban. Kelly is also defending President Trump's commitment to the rebuilding of Puerto Rico, saying the U.S. will stand with Puerto Rico until the job is done. This is AP Radio News. A sale called The Beauty of Space features hundreds of vintage photographs taken by American astronauts.
From John Glenn's first photo in space to Gene Cernan's pictures of the last walk on the moon, the sale is said to be the first of vintage astronaut photographs during the age of lunar exploration. Skinner Auctions in Boston has 445 photos up for online auction. They include Glenn's shot of the Earth warming the sun in 1962, the first image ever made by a human in space. There's also a Neil Armstrong photo of Buzz Aldrin walking on the moon in 1969. The pictures are originals made by NASA after the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. The auction ends November 2nd. I'm Warren Levinson.
A bust of Napoleon by French sculptor Auguste Rodin, long thought to be lost, was found on display in a New Jersey borough hall where it was sitting for 85 years. The owners of the bust announced it will be leaving the Madison Borough Hall to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I'm Ed Donahue, AP Radio News.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts Sean L., Letty Love, and funny man Doug Million. Join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. With live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. The best talk show on the web is here. STMK Radio 100. Also call us at 1-866-484-STMK to stop the madness. Keep it 100.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your hosts one more time, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone.
Here on the gun range with Master Sergeant Jack Reed Jackson. He's going to take a semi-automatic AR-15 with a bump stop fire stock on it and show us how he can convert it into a fully automatic weapon.
Almost true to life. There might be a few modifications for it to work in two-dimensional, but the concepts are still the same.
Hey, welcome back with us right there. We was out at the gun range Monday in our show out of Chicago. They took us out there and showed us how a semi-automatic weapon could be turned into a fully automatic weapon. And I want to say this, 12 of the rifles the gunman in Las Vegas mass shooting had on the 32nd floor of his hotel room was modified with the bump stop. And believe me, this is something that everybody need to be concerned with, Tone. And I'm going to say this because if you put the bump stop on that AR-15, actually what it does, it covers the sear, and you can shoot a whole clip just like it was a belt-fed machine gun. And you heard the shooting on it, okay?
Right.
So
you're right. I mean, because, I mean, you know, I hear people say all the time that, you know, there's no sporting purpose for that to shoot a fully automatic weapon. So if you do that, if you buy a fully automatic weapon or you modify your rifle to shoot like that, you're just doing it with the intentions of tearing something up. Like you're not doing it for hunting purposes or target practice, whatever.
Well, the biggest thing with the bump stop now that everybody knows about it, they're selling out. Okay, so
because people think about the ban,
it's there.
And the fact, and the thing is, even if the government does outlaw them, that's not gonna stop people from making them, or you know, the people who know how to create that technology, or who know how to do that modification, they're gonna do it anyway. At the end, you know, it's just the people who are using them right now they're legal to have this. It's legal to modify like
Right.
that, but when it becomes illegal, if
Well,
it becomes illegal, the people who are going to be doing it, the people
Already
who
there.
are going to be doing it illegal are going to do it anyway.
And I want to compare something right here because we went back with the ATF, and I really wanted to say this right here. Compared to the June 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting, okay, which 49 people was killed, 53 were wounded. The gunman, Omar Mateen, used at least 2 handguns and including an AR-15 assault rifle, okay? But his AR-15 assault rifle could only shoot 24 rounds in 9 seconds. Okay, that was without the bump stop because he had to pull the trigger. Okay, so it took him 9 seconds to shoot 24 rounds. In contrast to the Vegas shooting, whose Colt AR-15 was one of the weapons he used, he converted it to a fully automatic weapon, which is still a semi-automatic with the bump stop, and he shot 98 rounds in 7 seconds. So that's 100 rounds in 7 seconds with just one weapon.
That technology is only meant to cut people down, crowds of people down. That's the only thing it's useful for.
So we're going to go right here. We was trying to get a hold of our man on the beat. So we want to know, are you for gun control or not?
Me?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm asking you the same question. Mr. Black, are you for gun control?
Gun control, it's hard because it got two sides. But in my opinion, personally, I would say no. I think everybody should be allowed, to bear arms at some point and protect themselves. But it has to be taught and used for the right thing. Only for protection, not for robbing or killing, etc.
Right, because I see people in the chat room. You're correct. We need to enforce the gun laws that we already have. I believe that also.
Right.
And I believe that every law-abiding citizen over 21, or what is it, 21, need to go get a CCW permit and carry a weapon.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I don't
no,
really
I
know
don't-
what gun control. What can you do? Like, even enforce the laws. You said enforce the laws we already have. That guy, what's his name, Paddock in Vegas. He passed every test. He didn't do anything illegal. And look at him. So what more can you do with gun control
That's what I'm about to
laws?
say. You really
It's
can't-
gonna
you
stop.
really
You
can't
can't
control guns,
No,
for
this
real.
show is called Stop the Madness. But mad people like that, when people go mad like that, there's nothing you can do.
Well, that's correct.
There's nothing you can do.
Orlando's in the house. Sex man, I see you in the chat room running your mouth, and you're supposed to be on the telephone talking with us.
Right.
So what are you doing? Sex man is in the chat room messing with people in the chat room. See, that's the good thing about having the chat room because Sex man is in there right there.
He playing hooky.
Yes, he's playing hooky, and I don't know why he playing hooky. He better hook himself up. Sex
you
man.
You truant. You delinquent, man.
No, let me tell you, ouch. While I was waiting on you guys to call me, I was watching the show waiting on you guys, and my battery died on my phone.
Oh. But
Yeah,
Sex man, I'm glad you're here because we had some very good cases, but James took us over some and where he went down. The first thing we want to ask you, Sex man, is the case out of Chicago that was just the DOJ just took from President Obama, and the Chicago police officer that shot 16 times into a car is now getting ready to be sentenced to mandatory 10 years for a federal rights violation. Did you check that one out?
Yeah, that's the one where he said that the boys that drove was backing up at him, and he shot in fear of his life because they was going to back up on him, and in reality, they was moving away from him.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, hey, justice is being done now, buddy.
It's about time.
Now,
I don't think he got enough time.
Now,
He
now,
ain't get
now
enough
I got a
time.
question to ask you because I know we got a guy here, Mr. Black, and he, Tom brought some help. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to run a little
I don't need no
interference.
help for
Okay,
sex, man.
but sex.
Wait.
I want to ask
hold
you.
up. You saying Tom bought some ammunition with him?
Oh,
from
yeah.
back
No,
up?
I don't need no
yeah.
help for you, sex.
So, Sax, let me ask you this question. The detective in Utah, why did he get fired and his boss didn't get fired?
Is that the one where
The arrested
he
nurse.
was Yeah. Oh my God. uh, that was ridiculous. He I don't think he knew what he was doing, Sean. I think he was acting off of order, and he he didn't know. My opinion is he didn't know what he was doing. He shouldn't have been doing
Okay,
it.
but
He should have backed up.
but
He should have backed up and asked, is this right? What he's
wait,
doing
but
instead of going forward and doing
but
it.
wait a minute, Sax. You know about this. You know about when a boss tell you something.
Uh-huh.
You know about this, right? Remember what you just 2100? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah. I remember
okay.
that. I
So
remember that. Yeah.
okay. So why is the boss not fired? That's the only problem I have with this.
You know what the problem I have with this is? Other than that,
I follow you.
Sax, this is
Listen.
Sax, hold on. I got an even better question for you. I got an even better question for you. This is the problem I have with it. So that officer lost his job for arresting this woman.
Right.
He didn't beat her up. He didn't shoot her. He lost his job for arresting this woman.
Sax, they on you now. Go ahead.
Sax, what's going on with that? Because a white woman got arrested. He lost his job. You got a problem? I know you got to have a problem with that. Because you don't want him to lose the job for when they gun people down. This white woman got mishandled, dragged to the car, and arrested. That's all to it. And this man lost his job, and his boss got demoted. How serious is that? 2 people got in trouble for a woman getting arrested, even if it was an unjust arrest. What's going on?
No, I don't think it was unjust. I
No, the
think
arrest was
officer should've
unjust,
gotten
but
fired. No, Tone. Let me give you my answer. I don't think the officer should have been fired. I think he should have been reprimanded because he was following orders from his superior.
Right.
Same situation that I went through. Sean, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I went through the same situation not too long ago. And my superior obviously didn't know what the hell he was doing and almost cost us both our lives. But I was told to follow orders regardless.
Right.
So here you got officers that know better, but they got to follow orders of their superior. And that's why I don't think that officer should have been fired.
You think his superior should have been fired?
The superior should have been demoted. I think that was right. Because the superior was stupid for even telling him to go forward and do it.
But not
the
fired.
superior shouldn't have been fired, though?
Nobody should have got fired.
No, I don't think he should have been fired. No. Firing is like a harsh thing.
Well, I
That's the
think
last
the
resort.
lieutenant should have been fired. But lieutenant
If anybody was gonna get
the
fired.
lieutenant started it.
Right, the lieutenant goes down.
Okay.
Ain't that the chain of command?
Right.
The
The
lieutenant goes
right.
down
The
to the
lieutenant
chief.
should have took the hit. They should have fired him and demoted the other guy, because
But see, not the detective. He shouldn't have been fired.
right. I don't believe the detective should have been fired, as we was talking
No,
about
he
that.
shouldn't have. No.
But earlier you heard us when we left the gun range about the bump stops, right?
Partially. I think my phone was dying out
Oh,
on there at that time.
yeah, because we was on the gun range with Patrolman Jackson, and he put the bump stop on there, and he turned his AR-15 into a fully automatic weapon, and we had it all
Fully
taped.
automatic assault weapon. Yeah.
Now, my question to you and Tony Stone and all the rest of them, and Tony Stone says nobody needs it. What is a law enforcement officer going to do if he runs into a guy with a bump stop like that?
Let me say this: Tony Stone still believes in the Tooth Fairy. Now, this is how I feel. You know.
Oh man.
See, I was
he still believe in the bunny rabbit. You know, laying
Sax, I was gonna hold you down. I didn't even want to tell you this, but when Sean was at the range with the officer doing his demonstration with the bump stocks, I heard they had your face on the targets out there, man.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it. I believe that. That's the only way to let them be able to shoot straight.
Wait a minute. But Sax man, did you say the Easter bunny or the bunny rabbit?
The Easter bunny. The Easter bunny. He still think the bunny's laying eggs.
Wait, Sax. Sax, you have a young daughter, don't you? You better believe in Easter Bunny. You better not disappoint that young lady.
Yeah, but see, I have an excuse, Tony. I have a child.
And the Tooth Fairy. You better make sure that that money get under her pillow every tooth that come out her mouth.
Oh, no. You're a grown-ass man, son of the United States Army. What is your excuse?
So, Sax, do you think that new gun control laws, and we putting this into the chat room and they really going up, Do you think, as a law enforcement officer, new gun control laws need to be in place?
No, because it's not. This is my opinion. It's not going to do anything. You can pass so many rules and laws. All it's going to affect is the law-abiding citizens. It's not going to affect the criminals. If the criminals want to get their hands on something illegal, they will. If they want to get their hands on a gun, illegal machine guns, bombs, charges, they will.
Right.
It's not going to stop them. All it's going to do is stop us good people from being able to protect ourselves.
But my thing is,
what?
I feel like honestly, my opinion, I don't feel like I agree with you, but at the same time, I feel like what we should do is, why are we, as the pedestrians, as the people, why are we not allowed that same protection, that same level of protection to walk through the same streets that law enforcement has to walk through? They get to carry a gun, a bulletproof vest, walkie-talkie, mace, backup.
But you
You know what I'm
can't.
saying? But if we get caught with some liquor, if you get caught with some liquor, you going to jail.
But you can't. You know what? Wait a minute, Sax. Wait a minute, Sax. Sorry for your answer. Go ahead, Sax.
Okay, you as a civilian can.
No, you can't now without going to jail. You get caught with a bulletproof vest, you're going to jail.
Listen.
Not right, Mr. Black.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the answer.
Listen to him. He's going to give it to you.
You go take the 20-hour shooting course, then apply for your CCW. So that takes care of you carrying a weapon.
Well, you ain't got to do that.
You don't even need a CCW.
That's but why do I got to go take a class?
You don't have to take a class. You don't have to take a class. You don't have to take a class. The state of Ohio is an open carry state.
Yeah, that's if you want to carry.
So why do I need right? But why not? Why get the CCW? I want an open carry. I want somebody to know that I'm
okay. All you got to do is just like the Wild Wild West. Just go get you a 6-shooter and a holster and strap it on and walk down the street.
But
why does it matter the kind of weapon I have?
You can have any type of weapon, long as they can see it. That's why they call it open carry.
Yeah, but they don't follow it. That's my problem.
No.
If I was to walk down the street right now, and I show it, they gonna say where your license is. They gonna go.
No.
They gonna lay you out. They gonna lay you out. As long as you pass all the tests, you'll walk away. But they gonna find something to arrest you for. They gonna find something to arrest you for.
Sax, man, I'm gonna say this in Mr. Black's defense, but I'm going to say this right here.
Thank you.
The state of Ohio is an open carry state. So no matter what weapon you have, as long as it's visible, you can carry it legally and walk down the street. Now the problem is, Mr. Black, and we did this test 5 shows ago, so I understand where you're going with that.
Okay.
Is that law enforcement officers in the community does not know the open carry laws they should, and some law enforcement officers, and this goes back to the bad police officers and the good ones not calling them out, does not treat open carry properly, because we did put a white college student out on 105th with an AR-15, and 4 police officers came up on him, and they walked up on him and talked to him just like we're talking right now, okay? And on the flip side, we put a black male on 105th walking with an AR-15, and yes, the police officers made him lay down on the ground and took the weapon from him until they realized that they were being filmed and that the press was out there. Then the sergeant came and gave him his weapon back and explained the open carry law to the people, and they let him go. But this does happen. Okay, so it does happen.
But that's what I'm saying. Why does that even have to be explained to the officers? That's what you had the academy for. That's what they're supposed to teach it.
Well, everybody
teach the laws.
There's classism, man. There's classism. The racism ain't never going away.
Right.
That's not going to go away. It's going to maintain. So therefore, you cannot say, "Oh, I'm walking down the street and do the same thing this guy just did." No, it ain't gonna happen like that. You gotta be smart about it, man. You gotta be really smart.
But not only that, our law enforcement officers have to be better trained and astute, and it comes back with supervision.
My whole point.
It comes with supervision, because my thing of it is that everyone should know the open carry law, just like we had to know.
Everybody.
Just like
especially
the Republican National Convention. Okay, the Black Panthers was given more scrutiny on 125th. I mean, on West 25th than the guys that was on public square, but all law enforcement officers were aware of the open carry law, so they handle it accordingly, okay? And I think what really needs to be happening in states like Ohio and Texas, Georgia, is that everybody needs to go to a class for open carry. Not only civilians, but also police officers, okay? Because you are going to have somebody that challenge you or do an open carry, and it shouldn't lead to a misunderstanding or a possible shooting. And that has happened. And then you look at
this is Ohio, and that's
right.
open carry.
You look
Just
at
like with that Fernando Castle
right.
thing.
But see, Fernando
that man
Castle,
lied to the carry, he got shot.
but Fernando Castle is a different problem, okay? And I'm going to say this again: that shooting should have never occurred. But also in his training class, he was instructed. Once you tell the law enforcement officer that you're carrying a weapon, don't do anything until you asked him what you want me to do. Okay?
Right.
It's the same as me when I got stopped by a state trooper. I can carry a pistol anywhere in the United States under the retired federal law. That's something that the Republicans did do that good. I'm required to have my badge. I'm required to have my department ID, and I'm required to have my firearm stamp from the range to show that I did qualify this year.
Right.
All that's required. If I don't have my badge, then I can be arrested. Okay. If I don't have my ID, I can be arrested. If I don't have that stamp to show that I qualified from the department that I live in, I could be arrested. Okay? So it's the same thing with me. I'm driving. I get stopped by a state trooper. I'm required to tell him under House Bill 218, I'm a retired law enforcement officer and I am armed. Okay? Now,
are you required to tell him, or are you required to show him?
No, I'm required to tell. You do not show anything. You tell. You do not move. You do not act. You look at him when he say, hey, I might see your driver's license and can I get your insurance? You are required right then, not to say, can I get my driver's license or do I need? You're required to look at him and say, officer, I am a concealed weapon holder permit. I am armed. Now, if you're not armed, you're not required to disclose.
Say anything.
Okay? Now, once you disclose that you are armed, okay, then you should look at that officer to make sure that he understands you are armed and to make sure that he tells the guy looking over your shoulder that you're armed so he can be aware of what's going on, of the situation. Then you are supposed to look at this officer and say, what do you want me to do? Okay? That's what happened with the Fernando Castro situation.
Because
where
he kept moving. He
Right.
kept moving after the cop said, don't go for it, don't go for it, don't go for it, bang, 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 bang.
Right. But the police officer already knew that he was a concealed weapon permit holder. So what he should have did when Fernando Castro started moving and going into that thing, he should have backed up and reset the situation. Okay.
Right.
That's what he should have did because
That's what I would've done. That's
technically he didn't actually know what was going on, so he should have backed up and said, okay, let's reset this situation because he knew there was a gun in the car. So at that point in time, he should have backed up. Fernando wasn't doing what he told him to do, so he should have backed up and turned it into a felony stop and took Fernando out of the car at gunpoint until he realized what the situation was because he knew he had a license holder there. Now, that's the proper way training for a law enforcement officer should take place. And in order for that to happen,
come on, Sean, he was probably trained.
But
he was just,
with Sax Man, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because you know what? Each traffic stop and each individual officer does things different and on his own. We all can get the same training. We all can act the same when we sitting in the car. Right. When you out there, it's a whole different thing. That's like a bricklayer. You may be a master bricklayer, but if you didn't get none tonight and they throwing those bricks too far.
He talking about your basketball game, Sax.
Hey, Sax Man, we appreciate you, baby. Hey, Tony Stone, you know what time it is, everybody.
Man makes it big, I can't lose. Jigga bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the ramble down the yellow brick road, please believe at the end ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Sax Man is on the phone with us. Sax Man, what you gonna tell everybody before we get ready to get out of here?
Everybody, have a great weekend. This is the best show on the web. I'm thankful for everyone that calls in, that tunes in and watch the show. I'm glad everybody loves us. Thank you for the love. Sean, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to be on a radio show and get the conversation we're getting. Tone, watch the ass, man. Be safe out there.
Hey, Tone the Stone, what you got to say before we get ready to run up out of here?
Sax, I figured out what I'm going to do going forward. I'm hiring you to be my personal security, man. Are you prepared to take a bullet for me? Are you properly trained? But on a real note, I want to say, I want to reiterate what Sax said. Thank everybody for listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Keep tuning in because we just going to keep getting better and better and bringing you the real all the time.
Hey, the best is to come, and we got a man on his way to ATL, and he's going to sit in the chair with us until he go. Mr. Black, hey, we appreciate you for coming with us and tell our crowd what you got to say.
Oh man, I appreciate you guys for having me, man. Stop the Madness Radio, man. It's crazy up here. Everybody need to tune in every time, every week. Keep tuning in, keep sending your comments, keep calling in, keep supporting it, man. It's a great movement right now, and be looking forward to me in ATL. I'll be back on stage. I've been on a little break, but I'm back at 'em heavy, strong.
Hey, we're going to have Mr. Black with us next week, and we're going to really hit some stuff because we're going to make him do an interview with us about what he's going to do on stage. Hey, Savannah is in the house talking about ATL. Atlanta, hey, right there. We thank y'all for coming in. Orlando, D.C., what's up down there, Drick? Hey, Russell Wilkins in the chat room and his class from UCLA. He was stuck in the I-10 traffic, and he's throwing the hands up. Hey, Sybil, thank you for coming back with us. And D-Knows in the chat room, you had a good thing going today. Hey, Facebook Live, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram. We appreciate you for being with us, and we love you and thank you. And as always, peace, love, and happiness. See ya.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100.